There is so much to be thankful for. Take a look around and see everything we have within us, everything we want to be. All we need to sustain and keep us arise on time as we prepare. Let us thank God for our blessings and all His precious love we share. There is so much to be thankful for. Take a look around and see everything we have within us, every dream we want to be.
Yes, we are family. Yes, we are. And honestly, if it hadn't been for my family, you all, I don't know that today would have happened in this capacity. Thank you, Raven, for calling me last night and reminding me about Jack. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Kitty. Thank you, Reverend Patricia. Thank you, Reverend Cheryl, Yvonne, everybody that did what they did to make this happen, because I have got to tell you, I've got to be honest with you. And maybe you're feeling this way too. Feeling a little drained, a little frustrated, a little aggravated, a little exhausted, a little, not depressed, but just like it's a little overwhelming, all of it. Anybody else feel that way? You know? As much as we are doing as family, and as much as we have done to prepare for this very moment to create a world that works for all, it just doesn't seem, it seems so far off still. Does it not? It seems so far off. And so when talking to my, I'll just call her Coach E, she said, well, just tell them how you're feeling. Because we know that we are connected, and that there's probably 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 or hundreds of you that are feeling the same way. And I think oftentimes in Science of Mind, we're taught to focus on spirit and the good, and that is always the truth. And we don't recognize often enough that the conditions are real. They're conditions that we've created, mind you, but those conditions, the human condition, is a real condition. And so we've got to honor where we are in things and in life. Because not telling the truth about something does not do anyone any good. That's probably how we've got here at this day and time, in this day and age. We've come so far by not telling the truth and looking at it. So this week I want you to think about, when somebody asks, how are you? You don't have to go on and on, especially in a mass. They're not going to understand. But just really check in with yourself. Take that time to just check in with yourself and say, how am I really? How am I really feeling? It's important. It's important to be honoring of ourselves. That's the first place we start with creating a world that works for all. We don't look out there first. As Reverend Cheryl told us many times, we don't fix the mirror. We fix what's in here. However we do that to move through it. However we do that. And so from that, we're still talking about diversity and inclusion. And as tired as you all are probably of me talking about diversity and inclusion, I am as tired of it as you are. And I think we see, based upon the week's events, that it's still necessary for us to discuss and talk about. This is 2020. Believe it or not, it is almost the last quarter of the year. We're coming up upon the last quarter of the year. Is that unbelievable?
Totally.
And we started January 2020 with 2020 being the year of perfect vision. right? Remember that? Way back when, perfect vision.
So it is.
I remember sitting there in having my workshop, Conscious Creation, and we were creating our year. How'd that work out? We created a year all right.
This is it.
This is what has been created. Remember, it's not just us. We're consciously creating with all of us. Race consciousness consciously creates. And this is what we've created. So, good, bad, or indifferent, this is where we are. And it's okay. Because we are family. And there's a lot of good that is going on despite how it feels right here in this moment. Despite that. And quite honestly, if you really kind of think about it, it is kind of perfect vision. Because we were not seen. You know, when I thought about it, it's like, I don't know, I want to do Mop Sunday. And that just didn't work out because I really didn't put the energy and effort into it. I usually called Patty with my ideas about songs, but I didn't do that. I was like, I don't know. You know, it just is what it is. I don't know. So maybe I'll just, in December I won't show up, but, just whatever. Something will come to me, maybe, maybe and maybe not. But I have to put some effort and some energy into that. Michael Beckwith says, pain pulls until vision pushes. And so, thank God, not only for you all, but for me and my own ego, that we came up with something together. Pain pushes until vision pulls. We're in the midst of a pandemic still. It's better, it's getting better, I think we'll see more things opening up that haven't, completely closed. Kids have started back to school, but they're not at school. So that's a little concerning, especially if you have a kid that has some disabilities. And kids need to be out and playing and socializing with one another. And yet, it's not safe. And so we have to do it this way. We have, probably since the Civil War, we haven't been this divided as a country. We have high unemployment rates that we haven't even seen where that's going to take us yet. We don't even know what that looks like. And we can't really necessarily believe what is said. We can be sure that it's probably not quite like it has been presented to us. We have people, because of unemployment, that will lose their homes. September 1st in Las Vegas, evictions start back. That will lead to homelessness, more homelessness. People without jobs typically can't afford COBRA, so there won't be health care. And yet, the vision to create a world that works for all is still there. Sometimes you create a vision and you didn't realize that there was so much stuff that you had to take care of before you got to that vision. I want to be a millionaire or a billionaire or a gazillionaire, whatever it is. But there's probably some underlying thoughts and patterns that you've created that you have to address and take care of before you amass wealth. Not necessarily, but that's usually the case. Or sometimes people win the lotto because they're not prepared here. What happens with the money? It's gone. They don't know how to manage that. So even if we would have created a world that works for all in January, with the way that we had set things up, we would have been right back where we were in 3 or 4 months. What happened? I thought we created a world that works for all. So this is the right way to do things, even though it doesn't necessarily always feel good. The hurricane, the fires. There's some work that needs to be done environmentally with climate, whether you believe in that whole thing, but there's something that's going on that has to be addressed. There's still gender inequality. I know we celebrate 100 years of women having the right to vote, which is great. But there's still gender inequality, and there's pay gaps in that. And this is not to be a downer message. It's just bringing to light what is going on, that we have the ability to, with vision, move through. And on top of all that's going on in the States, we are blessed to have an election coming up in 60 days. God bless us. And either way it goes, folks, it's not going to be pretty. Based upon what we see and what we feel, we know that. One might make you feel better at the time, but as we get through it, we know that it will not all be pretty. And so we've got to be prepared. We have got to stay prayed up and stay focused and keep honoring who each of us is and how we feel about things. Russell, slides, please. Keep going. So the first slide by Ernest Holmes. It seems to me that it is only as we view all life, everything from what we call great to what we call small, important or unimportant. It is only as we view the whole thing as one stupendous whole, whose body nature is with God, the soul, that we shall really enter into communion, into sympathetic oneness and rapport with the reality of all that is about us. Next slide. Without inner change, there can be no outer change. Without collective change, no change matters. And Roger Teal said, hospice that which is ready to die, and midwife that which is ready to be birthed. Hospice that which is ready to die, and midwife that which is ready to be birthed. And I struggle with that, you know. Hospice takes a lot of care and nurturing. And if you meet people that work in hospice, they are the most caring and loving people. And their job is to get people from this plane comfortably into that next experience. And sometimes, I tend to want it all right this second, right? I want it all now. I don't know if you remember that. I was a kid that went to San Rafael High School, and that was the motto of Marin County. I went to San Rafael High School. I want it all now. And I very much resemble that remark. But as a minister, and really just as a person, I have to be able to hospice that which is dying off. I have to be able to really look at that and say, you know, this has, whether I see it or feel that it has served this time, some people are really going to be upset and miss that experience, even though it's greater over here. But I have to take the time to acknowledge and honor that, just as I honor my everyday feelings about all the craziness that's going on. Hospice that feeling, nurture that feeling, and keep my head up, stay prayed up, and keep moving forward to midwife that which is to be birthed. They're not mutually exclusive. They're one and the same. We're third dimensional beings. And we have a teaching, science of mind, which is metaphysical. It's not about what we can see. We believe in God. We believe in spirit. We believe in divine intelligence, infinite intelligence, the one power, that which is the creator, which we cannot see. And the only acknowledgement, the only way that we see it is through the expression of each other, right? And so there is just that I have to keep my mind on spirit and keep knowing that spirit and I, my highest self, not my egoic self, but my highest self have got this. And no matter what it looks like, keep moving forward. And when I get discouraged, when I get frustrated, when I'm feeling exasperated, when I'm feeling like, you know what, forget this. I got to remember to rely on who we are as a community. Because that's going to get us through. That's going to get us through. I mean, many of the problems that we're going through have been here since before this nation was even birthed. And we're expected to clean this stuff up. We're not expected, we don't have to, but it's not really working out so well. Everything's shut down. It's been 6 months. We've just talked about some of the effects of what has gone on. So we've got to do something different. And I'm not saying that we're doing anything wrong, but I'm saying as people that want to create a world that works for all, if you're of that mindset, that it is time for us to keep doing our work. Keep enjoying that beautiful sound tone that Jack plays that makes me just, all of this that is an illusion is the illusion that, yes, I've created and my fellow people have created, and it is still not the truth of who I am. And so as I relax into music or literature or movie or music, Patty, I mean, I don't know how you can ever be down or depressed with that beautiful voice. But, you know, whatever it is that allows you to feel that sense of spirit. Because there's just that, even when you go to a museum, there's just something like that, wow. As Kitty was saying, angels. Now, angels, higher thoughts, the higher thought, the higher self. There's just that experience of, there is something else other than what I see, what I can touch, what I can feel, this third dimensional thing that is going on. There's more to it. Mary Morrissey said, and she took it from somebody, but anyway, move in the direction of your dreams. Move into the direction of your dreams. Confidently go forward in the direction of your dreams. And when you can't confidently do it anyway. I wasn't confident this morning. And I put on a shirt that if I perspire, which I am bound to perspire in 108 degrees, that it's not going to look like I want it to look. I have on shoes that are slipping off my heel. But I wanted to wear this. It made me feel good. Thank you. So keep moving forward. Keep standing in your truth and knowing that you and the God of your being, or whatever you call God, have got this. Have got this. Hospice, that which is ready to die, and midwife, that which is ready to be born. With all that being said, and with all that kind of downer stuff that I just told you, it's like, well, my job is to inspire, so I probably need to pick you up a little.
You do inspire. Are you kidding?
I just want to keep it real. I don't want you to think that I'm here and I don't have the same thoughts and the same feelings, and that you can't come to Reverend Shaw or myself or any of the ministry or prayer team, because we're all feeling the devastation of what's going on. There would be something wrong with us if we didn't. But as a minister, as a practitioner, I can see the rest of the story. I don't know how it looks like, I don't know how we get there, but I know that if I'm going to keep going. So, CSL, there's some good stuff going on. We just launched our World Ministry of Prayer Power Hour. I've been part of the World Ministry of Prayer team for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. And there's something about, and you know, I can't pray like Kitty and most of the ministers and practitioners. And you know, it's not a comparison. It's just, you know, I just kind of do my thing, and it's all good. And but there's something about sitting with someone, as Yvonne was saying not too long ago, and about seeing that person or hearing their voice and knowing that we're connected. There's just something about that. And if I have words, I can't hug you right now, if I have some words that can fill your heart and move you so that you can move to the next level, there's something about that that brings, I think, most people joy. Patty, I'm sure if you can sing a song that makes somebody feel a certain way, that's what we do, you know? Reverend Cheryl bakes, you know? It's like that her joy is through that love of those cookies that I don't need. That's where her joy comes from, by not necessarily baking the cookies, although she does like to stir. That's a whole weird story. But just that idea of somebody taking that bite and saying, wow, this is great. And knowing that you spent your time and put your love and your energy in that, there's something good about that comes forth. So the World Ministry of Prayer, you know, I've been doing it on the phone for every Thursday for years now. And now finally they did the beta test for Zoom. And so we did Zoom calls so I could actually see the people that I'm praying with. And normally every Thursday I have the same 2 or 3 people. The same people, they don't know me, you can't give them your name, they don't know where I'm from, they don't know anything about me. And it's just, hi James, hi so-and-so, hi so-and-so, how you doing? What are we praying for? It's usually the same prayer. But there's something that just moves my heart. And so it's something that can, like art and music and so many other things, movie, cinema, when it's done well, that allows me to connect on a different level. So that's new, that's coming out. It hasn't been rolled out to everybody yet, but that's one of the new things. We just finished How to Be an Anti-Racist, the book study. It's a difficult book. It's not easy stuff that we're tackling here. You know, we're going for it. You know, going for broke. And to see these people that are, you know, they're older, they've lived in it, their life is good. They don't have to do any of this stuff. It's for the kids. Let the protesters, the ones that are the demonstrators, the young ones that, you know, let them, they've got the energy to do it, let them do it. And they're still I want to get this. I really want to create a world that works for all. I want to understand what went wrong, what my role is in this, and how can I do something better. If it's not for everybody else, just for myself. We are part of the all, right? And to see them get on there with such joy and sadness and just the human emotion that we all connect with in that understanding the human experience. There's something very moving about that. We have practitioners and lay members and ministers that took me and white supremacy with CSL. And it's not easy stuff. You may not even agree with all of that stuff. But most of the time when you don't agree, you haven't experienced it. If you haven't experienced it, you really have no way to, I don't want to say you don't have an opinion, but how can you understand what you've never experienced? I don't have kids. I can tell you how I might feel if my child was out of school and this and that, but it's not, I don't have kids. I'm not excluding myself from that emotion of the connection with the child, but I don't have kids. If you haven't experienced a sense of separation, then you're not going to quite get it on the same level. Doc Rivers, when the young man was shot the other day, Doc Rivers, the NBA did the protest. He said, "America, we love you. Why can't you love us?" How sad is that? That is still going on in this day and age. And the feeling by this man, this giant of a man that's been in basketball his whole life, to feel that as much as I've done for my community, my own wealth, for the entertainment value of the United States, that you don't love us. And then, but then there's yet this, well, they're not this, and they're not doing this, and they're not doing that. There's a thing about self-worth that you've got to understand that comes from feeling love. And when you don't have that, the world is a much different place. And it's also something I can't tell you about because I've not experienced it from that level. So who are we? We're loved and we're loved. We're resilient. We will get through this. And I don't want to hear it in God's time, because that's some kind of old-timey Christian thing that I don't know where we get that, because who made time? Humans. There's no time in the mind of God. We made that. We'll get through this when we decide we're going to get through it. And if we decide we don't, or we won't, then we won't. And we'll suffer here on with this condition until we decide to do something else. There is no we. I mean, there is a we. There is not me. It's not just about me. It's about we, the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness. If you're not okay, I'm not okay. Not because I'm a minister, it's just the way of the world. And if you haven't seen that, then you're seeing it right now. Because you can have all the wealth in the world, and all the wealth in the world is going to be needed to get us through to the next 5, 10 years after we see the effects of what's going on. So you will be affected. It's not about me, it's about we. It's not about anything except for feeling the connection with our own higher power and with one another. That's how we will get through this. Together. Together. I love and appreciate you all. I'm so glad that you're here. And if there's anything that I can ever do to help you move through this experience, please know that I'm here. Even when I'm frustrated and exhausted and exasperated, just the idea of you calling for my help will get me through. So I love you all, and so it is.
Love you too.
Oh! Last slide. We have something to do together.
Oh, good.
We have a little community agreement, which I can barely read. And probably you can't either. Can anybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see that. All right, so let me pull out mine because I can't read this screen. No, never mind. Okay, so let's stand up. If you're comfortable standing up, let's stand up. Doesn't matter if you're a member. We're pretending that we're members today. We, the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We're a community that honors the unique image of God that each person embodies, advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees holiness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we can grow together and understand that oneness is not sameness. And we, the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living, that the beloved community is revealed when we love each other well. And so with that, let's just take a seat and let me pray us out. And take that in. And so it's from that place of just sheer love. Pure love, just for love's sake, that I'm so grateful for a community that embraces diversity and inclusion, for a community that always shows up in love, for a community that recognizes that although not perfect, that each of us is doing the best that we can at each and every moment. I am knowing that each and every person got something from the message this morning about who we are. It's never me, it's always we. And so we are family. We are loved and loved. We are resilient. We are people that are moving, that are committed to moving this idea of creating a world that works for all forward. No matter what that looks like, be it a good day or a bad day. we keep doing the best that we can. And so with that, I am just grateful. I'm grateful for those people that shown up here this morning. Grateful for those people that are tuning in and watching us now or later on. Grateful for all of it. And just the experience of being alive in this day and time. Because the time is meant for us now. And so with that, I just release this word to that law, which simply says yes. Yes, it's done. I got you. And together we say, and so it is.